Well, good evening, Sigma race fans. Another Sigma ARCA race in the works here tonight as we come at you from New Hampshire Motorspeedway for the flat tracking 100. 100 miles, grand total of 94 laps around this short track. And starting front row, you've got Willow Racing duo of Violet Void and Chase Kovacic. Behind that, you've got Stephen Miller and Craig Bush. Finley Herwig starting strong here tonight alongside Chris Jeremio. He's going to have to try and beat Jonah Burridge by about 5 spots to maybe get the points lead here tonight. Carlos Eduardo and Cassie Perkins. Ryan White and Dean Clutchoke. Billy Lovejoy and Taylor Cording. Kaylee Sheets and Ace Vaden. Bucky Campbell with Jonah Burridge, your current points leader. Harwick and Regan. Marsh and Klein. McMurphy and Reese Landry. Shy Turtle and Santi Messi. Pedro Sales and Gabe McDuffie. Tasha Wright and Timothy Buchanan. Todd G. Castlenut alongside Brandon Butler II. Ralph Oberstadt and Cooper Landry. Kyle Chestnut and Tyler McCarroll. Wormy Wormington and Dylan Smith. Sebastian Galloway Jr. and Astro Atlas. Marvin Werner and Borat Sagdiev. With the tail end of the field being Adam Jefferson and Jeff Bolton.
Touch all your seatbelts, touch all your connections, touch your Hans. Just make sure you get everything like you want it.
Start your engines!
Definitely should be an interesting race here from New Hampshire. Always get some good racing action around this short mile-long track. Actually, in all correctness, it's a mile and change. Mile point, I think, like 0.8 of a mile. And here we go. We're off and rolling for the flat tracking 100 here tonight. Violet Void with the early lead as she's going to go through turn 1 there, holding the position from her teammate. And Willow Racing settles into a 1-2 running order as the rest of the field follows behind them. "94 laps is going to go by pretty quickly here tonight, so you might as well find the track position while you can, or else you'll be stuck fighting from the back end of the track. Obviously, you never know with short tracks where we might get some wrecks and carnage here tonight, especially here on the ARCA side of things where ARCA brakes reign supreme. But it's off to the early. Good lead here for Violet Void as she's holding that position pretty solidly over her teammate Chase Kovacic. Kovacic just recently won a couple weeks ago at Watkins Glen, holding off his teammate Violet Void, so these two have shared the 1-2 position before. It's actually kind of a mid-season resurgence for Willow Racing, whereas we saw them struggle in the early schedule here, early months of the calendar. But I feel like things are starting to go their way here as they've been making some strides, progress in running stronger. Violet's got a pretty sizable lead at the moment. That lead can always shrink as you see the 77 running a little bit faster here, it looks like. I don't know how serious the side bet was, but Shy Turtle might start worrying here if he keeps seeing these two up front. Willow Blake had made a bold prediction that if one of her two cars ended up winning here tonight, that Shy Turtle would owe her $50. And Shy Turtle himself said if he won that Willow would owe him $50. Well, let's see. Where is Shy Turtle on the racetrack right now? Midfield running in 19th, running behind a Willow Racing entry there in the 99 of Campbell Marsh. So he's got a lot of work to do here. He's got the points leader within the same straightaway as him here. So far the race has stayed green through the first 8 laps here tonight. Your top 10 coming from the back here. You got Billy Lovejoy in 10th, Cassie Perkins in 9th, Ryan White in 8th, Carlos Eduardo, Chris Jeremio, Stephen Miller, Finley Herwig, Craig Bush, and then Kovacic and Void. But right now, Void starting to lose the advantage that she had so early on here. The 77 has closed that gap and is looking to fight for the lead here. This race could definitely get interesting if the two teammates start duking it out. Based on the running order right now, Finley Herwig would be your new points leader here today, as he has a solid 4th place run going up against the points leader, who has not been able to move very far throughout the field. He's sitting in 17th. So yeah, Finley is 15 points out of the lead. As the displacement of points go, a 4th would definitely trump a 17th and give him enough points here to take that lead, to take 15 points away from Jonah Burridge. All in the meanwhile, your two leaders have been stinking up the show so far. 13 laps in. No, we've got a swap for position here as the 18 tries to dive below Chase Kovacic. That 18 there, that is Craig Bush. This might open the door for Finley Herwig in the 68 there behind these two. Finley's going to go around the outside, and I think it ain't going to help getting stuck up on that high side. He might be dropping backwards here. This is definitely where you start to see the tire degradation kick in. A lot of the drivers been running solidly quick laps, and the tires are going to start falling off, and we'll start seeing just like that the 02 getting passed on the inside by the 15 of Eduardo there. The 02 struggling to get the traction that they had 15 laps ago. Violet Void still holding that lead pretty solidly here. But it's getting tighter at the front as the battle for the lead's going to start brewing. Well, now the top 5 have really broken away here, as you can see. Finley looking on the inside there. Craig Bush to no avail. Fastest lap of the race does belong to Jonah Burridge, who's deep in the field here today. Your current points leader has found the pace, but has he found the track position? Still stuck in 17th right now, so it's going to be a long night ahead for him. And keeping that points lead is going to be tough, especially when his competition is running in 4th right there. So of the top 5 that you're looking at in the screenshot here, only 2 of them have won a race this season. Chase Kovacic in the 77 and Finley Herwig in the 68. Those are your 2 winners within the top 5 there. So what that means is Violet Void, Craig Bush, and Stephen Miller, those 3 are all looking for their very first win. Looks like Finley under attack here by Stephen Miller. And also joining the top 5, it looks like Carlos Eduardo has started to close back up on our lead group here. There's no gimmicks in our Sigma ARCA series, So the points battle is a full season points battle from race 1 to race 26. Unlike the rest of our Sigma racing competition where there's some form or gimmick to help decide the championship at the end of the year, this one is a much truer, more authentic championship battle. And there we go, Finley Herwig making a move to get up to third here. Is it going to stick? 18 going around the outside. They're going to drag race down the backstretch, and I think Finley's going to have the advantage on that inside line. 18 not giving an inch, though, as you see, fighting back hard to get that position that he's about to lose. All in the meanwhile, the two Willow Racing cars are driving away from the rest of our leaders here. Looks like Finley's finally going to get the opportunity to close the door at the end of this set of turns here. And it looks like we're going to have a lapped car already. Must have been a mechanical failure for Taylor Cording to end up at the tail end of the field here. Flat tire puts her on the cusp of going a lap down. Oh, and that's going to... Violet had to get out of it there. We also had another flat tire from the 03 of Chris Jeremio, which we missed. Wow, and look at Finley starting to join the party here. We're going to have a three-car fight for the lead eventually. The lapped car here has allowed everyone else to catch right back on up to the leader. Here we have a lead change as Chase Kovacic going in on his teammate there. Violet Void has led up to this point, but she's under attack by her teammate. 68 of Finley Herwig also making a move on the inside of the 00 there. He's going to go for second. And it's almost going to be 3 wide for the lead as Finley, thinking about making the move, has no door of opportunity yet. But the opportunity could definitely present itself here shortly. Teammates are still duking it out side by side here. Violet is doing everything she can to hold the lead. Kovacic doing just as much as he can to try and steal it away from her. Violet seals the deal, getting her lead back here. And this all kind of sparked with Taylor Courting lap traffic that held them up here. Well, look at that. Finley Herwig gets up to second, taking the spot away from Chase Kovacic. And Violet starting to really stretch it out again here. Kovacic fighting back on the inside. There should be at least one pit stop in the race here tonight. Whether or not that comes under green flag or caution is yet to be determined. The more they get racing side by side, the more likely we might get a caution sooner than later. You see a lot of side-by-side racing now throughout the field as they starting to get a little bit more racy for position. Jonah Burridge has only been able to secure one spot here tonight, your current points leader. Not looking very stout. Ralph Oberstadt has been struggling the last couple weeks. He was one of the drivers in the talks for the championship battle and has now since kind of fizzled a little bit. A few other newcomers in the league just kind of getting their feet wet, as you can see as we skim through the field. Last race winner, the 51 there of Dylan Smith, had won it at Daytona. Daytona is always the great equalizer. You may not have the fastest car, you might not have the best equipment, but you can always find victory at Daytona in the craziest of fashions, and that's most likely what we saw from the 51 of Dylan Smith. You would like to think that the win would help boost the car, give them a little bit more on the engine side of things, but having a not as great showing here tonight, rolling out from the last race winner. Borat Sagdiev, he's new to the series. This is his first ARCA start, and he's been lighting it up in the truck series. Oh, the 03 of Gabe McDuffie. That was mistaken. I thought it was the 02. Gabe McDuffie had a flat tire early on and has gone multiple laps down. Well, Finley Herwig is now up to second. And this could get interesting for that race lead, as we already know how hungry Finley Herwig is to get the points lead here today. He's already doing what he must to earn the points lead, as Jonah Burridge is struggling. Carlos Eduardo in 5th. He's also had a decent season this year, sits 11th in the points. Craig Bush has had a moderate season. He sits 10th in the points. You look at Chase Kovacic, even with his one win, he's deeper in the points than one would think. He sits 18th overall. So if he continues the trend that he's doing right now, he can start climbing the points pretty rapidly. Carlos Eduardo under attack here by the 02 of Jeremio. It's amazing that our ARCA drivers have drove so clean here tonight. Usually one of the series you could almost guarantee a wreck or caution to fall. And we're seeing them race pretty calm right now. Finley is definitely trying his hardest here to get caught up to the 00. He has closed that gap, and he's going to start fighting for the lead here any moment. We just barely got past halfway here in tonight's race. Looks like we might have some more lap traffic in probably a dozen laps or so that could factor in here. Violet Void is doing one hell of a job here tonight, keeping the surges of racers there behind her. But it's going to get interesting as Finley is about to get within range once again. I think what's impressive here is how many drivers are all still within the lead draft. It's very tight. Throw a blanket over nearly the top 10 here. Finley struggling a little bit as he lost some momentum to Violet Void. I wonder if this might give Chase Kovacic second spot back. Chase is peeking on the inside there of the 68. This is also helping Violet Void as those two start to get side by side. Now, but Kovacic had to let off the throttle a little bit, and that gives Finley Herwig second place back. Violet Void has never won in Sigma competition, so looking to try and get her first ever career win. Don't want to give her the commentary jinx, as is all common when I'm commentating on these races, but I'm willing to shake it up and you know, I want to try to stump that stigma of cursing the driver when I mention their names. So hopefully Violet keeps it rolling here and proves the commentators' jinx wrong. Or else Willow might actually hunt me down and seek vengeance for cursing the 00 car here tonight. Hopefully she can get it done. I don't want to be hunted down. Craig Bush, he's struggling a little bit on the outside. Oh, whoa, we're wrecking. Somehow, minor, but still the yellow flag waves as that minor wreck there could have been much worse. He had to go down pit road, and it didn't really have an opportunity to get down pit road, and collects the 15 there of Carlos Eduardo. I'm wondering if there was a possible very unusual. But also very on point for ARCA series. So we're under caution with 35 laps to go, and everyone's going to pit. This will get them good to go on gas and tires all the way to the finish. Violet Void comes in with the lead. We're going to go ahead and give the wave around to the 03. And the 54. And Violet Void is going to keep the lead here. Finley Herwig comes out second. Carlos Eduardo, who was just involved in that wreck, jumps up to third somehow. Billy Lovejoy in fourth. Ryan White in fifth. So our top five have shaken up significantly for some drivers taking a gamble here tonight. Shy Turtle jumps up nearly 10 spots. He took 4 tires. I don't know how in the world can you take 4 tires here and hopscotch half the field in front of you. Wow, he had a quick exit there. Beat out a lot of drivers. Some folks just had a bad pit stop here. Yeah, he gained 8 spots from 16th up to 8th. The big loser in all this had to have been Chase Kovacic. Where did Kovacic fall back so far? Wow, 34th? What in the world? Takes 4 tires, takes the gas, and has to sit on pit road. Oh boy. They must have had to do some extra fixing on the 77 there for him to stay that long. So here we go. The lights will come off on the pace car this time by. Alrighty, folks, we're getting back and racing here tonight. Is it going to be Violet or is it going to be Finley? Violet falls back to second. Finley Herwig takes the lead here. And now Violet fighting from behind as she's going to have to get the lead back under competition. Billy Lovejoy in third there. And Finley starting to stretch it out as Violet falls back to second. Meanwhile, third place, Billy Lovejoy. Fourth place, Carlos Eduardo. And fifth place, Kaylee Sheets. Running in seventh, you have Shy Turtle, who's shown some strength here. Had a significant pit stop that helped him hopscotch up into the top 10 for the first time here tonight. And mark my words, I really hope I don't get hunted down for jinxing Violet Void. Race is not over. There's a lot that could still happen in these final 28 laps. Violet Void is not letting the 68 of Finley Herwig get too far away. One thing that is mostly impressive here is the fact that Carlos Eduardo was involved in that first caution of the race, and yet he's running in fourth fighting for a solid finish here tonight. Goes to show you that on these short tracks you can still make something of it even if you get involved in a wreck. Violet losing some ground here to Finley at the moment. 25 laps to go. Finley Herwig with your fastest lap in the race. So the race really starting to come to him in the closing chapter here. You got the 70 of Ryan White running in 6th. A lot of different drivers all throughout the top 15 here that have really shaken things up. Wow, the 45 of Jonah Burridge sits 31st on track right now. This could be a huge pivotal swing in the points battle as Finley Herwig currently leads the way. And Jonah Burridge, your points leader, he's going to give up a mountain of points here tonight if he can't get it rolling. He's alongside Borat Sagdiev there and a whole hornet's nest of other cars that could end up piling up in front of him. So he best be careful not to get tangled up in a mess not of his making. As the points leader, it has been a rough night for sure. Finley has not managed to get too far away from Violet Void as she's still very much within range of striking. Actually, last lap, Violet Void was 1/10 faster. This lap, she was 1/10 slower. So it's a kind of a ping pong back and forth between these two. Finley, he is searching for his second win on the season. It has definitely been an interesting season for Finley Herwig, where he started out the season with a 7th, and an 8th, and had a terrible race, no good race, kind of like what we're seeing out of Jonah Burridge tonight. Finley Herwig had a 37th at Atlanta, but then followed it up with a win at Dover the very next week. Put together, the rest of his finishes look like a 12th, a 3rd, an 18th, a 3rd, and a 10th. And he's leading the way right now with not very many laps left to go. Violet starting to close back up on him here. This could get to be an interesting fight for the win. Violet's really closed up now, as Finley's going to have his work cut out for him. Things are staying green since the first caution of the race fell at about midway. And this is what everyone in the crowd has signed up for. A great race at the end of it to finish it. There might be a battle brewing between these two, as Finley had stole the lead away from Violet Void on the restart. Violet has been closing that gap, and she's going to be on his back bumper here shortly. Finley starts to stretch it out a little more. Definitely a lot of hype building up to this finish. I could see this going one of two ways between our top two. Violet Void redeems herself and fights back to get the lead that she lost for dominantly running up front the entire race. Or Finley Herwig just drives away with it here. I guess there is always that third option. We could see another caution. The two of these drivers could take each other out. Ten laps to go. We're going to get into the single digits here. And Violet might have to lay bumper to bumper to make this one happen. She is right there. It's within reach. She can make it happen just with a single nudge. And she's very much right there. You could almost throw a small tent between the two of them. The opportunity presents itself. Is she going to be able to execute? I don't think lap traffic is not going to factor in here in the final lap, so it's going to come down to raw speed to get the job done. And we know that Violet has the speed. We saw her lead all the laps. I'm liking the line that Violet's running there. She's kind of running a line lower than the 68. We're down to now 7 laps to go. As long as the race stays green, it's really going to come down to who's got what's needed to make it win. Violet's right there. I can see she's trying to peek out on the inside, but now has to force it up high. And that has brought the two of Billy Lovejoy into the party. So now we've got a 3-car fight for the win with just a handful of laps left to go. Violet has the faster car. You can tell she's running up on the back bumper of the 68. Now might be the chance to pounce. Yeah, same song, different verse. As you can see, she just did not have the run there to execute. Maybe this time. The good thing for Violet is there's still 5 laps to go, so every chance that she gets is another opportunity within 5 laps. And I would rather be in her position fighting for the win than trying to defend. That looked like a really good run for Violet. You could kind of see the disturbance out of the 68 there. 3 laps to go. Violet had to go high, but I think she can try to slice down low here on the backstretch. She's got one hell of a run. Is it going to be enough to get side by side with Finley Herwig? Not enough. Still fighting from behind. If anything, this is one great way to close out the night, as we've got two cars very much within range of winning it. Violet's turning the faster laps for sure. And it's just the opportunity to pass is not presenting itself, as we're down to just a couple laps left to go. One more lap. White flag waving in the air. This will be the last lap. Looks like Violet has faltered here on the last lap, as she has lost a lot of ground to Finley Herwig. And she might even be losing a position here to Billy Lovejoy if she's not careful. And Finley is going to hold her off. What a crazy finish to the race. Finley did not have the best car necessarily out of the gate, but it came around at the end when it mattered the most, and he had the fastest lap and led the second half of the race here to win it at New Hampshire, getting his second win on the season. Violet Void led the most laps here today, as you'll be able to see here in the overview. Violet Void led a dominant 60 laps. Finley Herwig only led 33. And just a crazy turn of events at the end here. Your remaining top five, you had Billy Lovejoy, Kaylee Sheets, Carlos Eduardo, Ryan White, Shy Turtle, Sophie Harwick, Bucky Campbell, Cassie Perkins, Chris Jeremio, Travis Regan, Campbell Marsh, Heen Clutchoke, and the 15th place driver was the 63 of Todd G. Castlenut. So your new points leader after getting the win here tonight, unfortunately, Jonah Burridge had a terrible race here today and finished 32nd. So new points leader, Finley Herwig, takes over. And a pretty mild race through and through. We did have the one caution, and but other than that, the racing was exciting, and we had some fights going on for the lead. Fortunately for Violet Void, just the restart. She definitely did not want to see the caution, because that's ultimately what sunk her chance at victory here tonight. Her and Chase Kovacic both, unfortunately, were the unfortunate bad luck receptors of the cautions. So and so that is a wrap here for tonight. The Sigma ARCA Series 11th race. We're really closing in on halfway in the Sigma ARCA competition as well. Sigma Cup will be rolling here in the next race, either within the next day or so. And yeah, nope, it's been exciting. We've had some great races, and hopefully it continues to follow that trend throughout. Congratulations, Finley Herwig, on getting win number 2 on the season, and overall taking that points lead away from Jonah Burridge. I'll get points tallied up here tonight and posted on the server. got a couple series to score up and get squared away, as it's been a busy couple days for me. And so yeah, thanks again folks for tuning in. Y'all are what make hosting these streams worthwhile for me, and I enjoy every single one of them. So we'll be on to the Cup Series next for the rest of this week's racing action left on the schedule. And then we'll be looking towards next week for the rest of Sigma Racing coming at you. So with that, folks, have a great night. Stay safe out there. And until next time, this is Jakester signing out.